clink. Doesn't count. All right.
What else do you have on? What else is in
Moving
the news,
on.
Mark?
Another death.
Oh,
Brooks
great.
Arthur. Brooks Arthur has died.
Oh, Brooks Arthur, yeah.
Yep.
Albert Brooks died?
Yeah, he sweat too much doing the news.
No, his brother Bob
feeling.
Einstein died.
He died at the age.
Who's Brooks? Who's Brooks Albert?
Brooks Arthur.
Brooks Arthur.
Brooks Arthur.
Yeah. Don't freeze your face. We get scared when your face freezes. We don't want to see that. He died at the age of 86. He was a engineer. Before, in the beginning, he got to start in Manhattan, and he worked on, if I got it right here, Lou, and I said it last week, and I'm screwing it up already. What was that girl group he worked with?
The Shangri-Las.
Remember? Yeah, that was one of his first things. Yep.
Okay.
Worked in Manhattan
my favorite
for a few
girl
years.
Group.
Yeah, leader of the pack. That was his handiwork.
But who's your favorite girl group that plays their own instruments? For you, it's going to be the Bangles.
No, I'm going back like to the Breeders, that kind of thing. But
okay,
yeah.
The Runaways.
I like the Bangles better than the Go-Go's. Yeah, that's a sidetrack.
Yeah.
Okay, so Brooks Arthur has passed away.
He also worked with Love and Spoonful, Van Morrison, and Neil Diamond. But how we know him, and we've discussed this briefly, but on those shows that are now no more, he owned a studio in Blauvelt, New York, 5 minutes from me on Route 303 that I pass every day on the way to work, 914 Studios. And Lou, will you say the claim to fame that we know about that studio is?
Amongst other albums, Bruce Springsteen recorded his first 2 records there, and the single "Born to Run" was recorded there. The rest of the album were not. But
you know why?
Bruce Springsteen. Actually, John Landau, his new manager, and the Rolling Stone, rock critic, he thought it was a kind of a shabby studio. And there was piano problems. I thought I heard it on the first record, but
you mentioned that last week about something about the piano not staying in tune or something.
Yeah. That might have been on our after party discussion, but but it was a studio that was, it was valid though. There was some stuff recorded there.
Janician.
Janician.
Yeah. What was the other one? She stayed in. There was one that stayed. She stayed actually in the hotel, not the Nyack Hotel on Route 59 when she was staying. I'm reading these articles. And I'm like, this is all my local area. When Bruce was there, instead of driving back to the shore, they just set up a tent out back and slept out there. And they loved the Blauvelt Diner. They would eat their breakfast there. Bruce said he loved the scrambled eggs.
Wow. I wonder if I ever ate that. Having eaten almost every diner, at 3 a.m. after the bars type of thing. I didn't know. Was there a Clarkstown diner too?
Yeah. I think I've been to both. But I didn't know 914 was right next door. I didn't know that. So, yeah. Well, no, you might be thinking of Nanuet Diner, which was in Nanuet. That was another one.
No, who knows?
The State Line Diner.
There you go.
So Mark, 914 Studios. Why is it named 914?
That was the old area code of Rockland County before Westchester County soaked it up because they had more money than us, so they got to keep their foo-foo area code, and we went to 845. But I kind of like 845 better. It's easier to type, 845.
They didn't know that.
Yeah.
No, Rockland County is just over the border from New Jersey, where we're all raised. But you live there. Yeah.
I live there.
It wasn't that far. It was on the way to Harriman State Park in that area. And
I heard there's a giant plaque there now that they put high up so no one steals it.
If you Google
at the former site of 914 Studios.
Yeah, if you Google, do a Google Images search, you'll get that plaque. And it's now an auto body shop, and they always have their cars out front every day. But that's pretty cool.
Because it used to be a gas station at one point, right?
Yeah. Other artists have recorded there. Melanie, Loudon Wainwright III, Blood, Sweat, and Tears, Ashford and Simpson, Dusty Springfield. That's what I was thinking of. The Ramones and James Taylor. Right. They had a pretty good lineup of artists going through there.
Yeah. Janician recorded at 17. That classic song was recorded at 914.
Right. And she said Brooks gave her the confidence she needed. I think he produced it as well.
And may I say, on the 45 version of At 17, Bucky Pizzarelli, a guy I saw, plays guitar on the 45 version, the single version.
Wow.
Great guitar player.
His son was a year ahead of me in high school at Don Bosco, John Pizzarelli.
Really?
Yeah.
Really? I like, and I've done a lot of John.
I've been around
stuff.
famous musicians at since school. You know,
I found it interesting because Bucky he played one of those 7-string Gretsch guitars, so it was like those jazz guitars, you know, with the 7 strings.
Was it a low string or a high string that was added in there?
I don't know. It was just
probably low, so we could do a walking bass line. Boom, boom, you know.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, but he played. Bucky Pizzarelli played on the single version of Janis Ian's at 17, recorded at 914. Yep.
Yeah. So you know, Brooks Arthur was there a few years ago, and they dedicated the plaque. And I wish I had known about it. Not that if I knew about Brooks then I would have gotten there. He was talking to everybody. And it would have been just cool to shake his hand. You know?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know who else recorded at 914?
Who?
Townes Van Zandt recorded there.
Did he really?
Yes, he did. Yep.
I was looking for artists that recorded there. His name never came up.
Townes Van Zandt came up on mine. Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
914 New York or maybe South, somewhere else.
What about John Paul Jones? John Paul Jones did a record there.
I think you're getting some. Are you sure?
Yeah. Yep.
914 in Blauvelt.
John Paul Jones. Yep.
You think you wouldn't have to go that budget rate? I mean, they closed in was it 78? It was sold, right?
Well, he moved west, didn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He went to L.A. He might have worked with John Paul Jones in L.A. There might be a connection there. But Townes Van Zandt could very well have recorded there. You know, that was his time, right? Was he was mid-70s, wasn't he?
Townes Van Zandt, yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, Townes Van Zandt
early
through the
70s
80s,
to the
too.
80s.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I could search the John Paul Jones thing. I know he did a lot of movie soundtracks in the 80s.
Well, what about 914 Brooks Arthur's partners?
Yeah.
He's 50% owner of an A&R, right?
Phil
Ramone.
A&R record, Phil Ramone.
Phil Ramone.
Yeah.
Art Ward and Don Frey.
Yeah.
So Phil Ramone, he's a fairly legendary producer. Frank Sinatra, Billy Joel, most of Billy Joel stuff. So he owned a piece
Julian
of that.
Lennon, all kinds of stuff. Yeah, he did a lot of Billy Joel.
That's right, Julian Lennon.
Yeah.
So they had 16 tracks in 1972. That's actually pretty damn good for 1972. They were state of the art.
Yeah. You know, it was a 2-inch 16-track machine. Yep.
Yeah.
Have you guys listened? Well, I think the records we all know that were recorded there are the Bruce records. Born to Run took months and months to record, so I don't know if that would have. You know, the rest of Born to Run was recorded at the Hit Factory. If Bruce had recorded the Born to Run single at the Hit Factory, would have taken less time. Was there? You know, it's not like there might have been some issue, but I mean, I think Brooks Arthur. He was a sound engineer, so I would think he knew what he was doing when he set the studio up.
I think Bruce was just really working on it because they said he was coming up between gigs and it was like a masterpiece, like it was his masterpiece.
Oh, yeah.
And maybe John Landau might have pushed it faster, but then we might not have gotten the Born to Run that we got. So they did a fine job on it.
One of his biggest songs ever was recorded at 914 Studios. Right?
That's right.
Yeah.
And the idea behind 914 is that it was out of the way, so it wasn't all that expensive. But
right.
Brooks lived a few miles away. It was in Valley Cottage.
Yeah, Valley Cottage, 5 minutes up Route 303.
Yeah.
Because when they moved to the Hit Factory, then it started costing a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that was even more pressure on Bruce to deliver that record. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one thing that, you go to a studio you can afford. But, he got a $25,000 advance for Greetings from Asbury Park. So that was one of the reasons why Mike Appel, his manager at the time, wanted to record it in 914. He thought it was a good studio. But he said, you can't beat the price. It wasn't too far. Figured that's the drive. I know that drive when I used to live in Red Bank, which is Bruce Land. We used to drive that up to Park Ridge, which is right on the border. So it's an hour and 20 minutes,
It's a long Garden State Parkway
Back then it was probably a half hour. There's no traffic. It wasn't insane like it is now.
Yeah. But, the other thing I would love to see, I don't know if you guys have seen it, but someone had done footage of Bruce in the studio recording in 914 Studio, 16 millimeter footage. I wonder if it's on YouTube, but it'll come out someday. There's a guy that now he's a filmmaker. I would love to see that because then we'd see the actual studio.
Yeah.
You can, I'm sure. Yep.
So apparently back then, I mean, this was early 70s. There was they said they made a football field behind it. I can't visualize what it's like driving by there. I'm sure it's just everything's concrete now. But they used to sleep in tents, and musicians would sleep outside behind it. when they want to get a hotel or travel back to wherever they came from. So
it was mostly
camp out behind the studio.
Bruce he did it because they didn't want to stay in a hotel, and they could just walk next door and get their scrambled eggs at the Blauvelt Diner 24/7.
Right.
Right. Dusty Springfield stayed in. I know exactly where the hotel is, and one of the sound engineers said his job was to drive her back and forth. Nyack Hotel was like maybe 5 minutes away again. It's all close to there.
The Nyack Hotel. First class accommodations, hourly rates.
It's still there, but it's right by the overpass of the New York State Thruway. Really good location. Excellent.
And bar pizza. Bar pizza.
I'm being sarcastic. Bar pizzas, yeah.
Working girls.
That's
no, it's
cool.
Not that
So what became of Brooks Arthur before he died? You said he moved west, right?
Yeah, so he moved out to L.A. and he worked with, when he was out there, he's mostly known for doing the Hanukkah song with Adam Sandler. No, not mostly known, but that's the one I knew. And then, he just did a lot of work in stage and film, so I'm sure we could look him up and find a lot of things that he was doing.
Well, from what I read, in 1999, he started Brooks Arthur Productions Incorporated in Encino, California.
BAP.
Yep.
Interesting. So he he just saw L.A. and said, "I can expand, I can do more," and that's what he did. And, can't blame him.
Yeah.
And Adam Sandler paid him a nice tribute. Said, a kind, generous, one of those people, nurturing. Like he wanted 914 to be a place where you could nurture your talent. I mean, the fact that Bruce
and not break the bank. Yeah,
not break the bank. Bruce had to deal with Columbia Records. That's big time. But so it's not like he was. Actually, Adam Sandler said he was a true mensch, which is the Yiddish term. I guess that's just like that's like a Yiddish good fella.
Yeah.
A stand-up guy, So it's good. I was good to hear about people in the industry that they weren't the Marsh Levies of the world. They're actually people doing the good things, and you're lucky to come across people like that, and you're claw your way to the top.
So he lived to be an old man, correct?
Yeah. He was 86. He lived a good full life.
Good for him.
Okay, good.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Yep. Good job, Brooks. That wasn't his real name, though.
Oh, do you know his real name?
I thought it was like I thought he changed it. I thought it was I don't know, maybe.
It does sound kind of like a stage name, doesn't it?
Yeah. I thought it was Arthur Brooks.